Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jeanelle Slade.
And I'm Russ. Tonight, France's president is vowing to rebuild after one of the most iconic buildings in the world goes up in flames.
The Cathedral of Notre Dame in Paris, known for its art, architecture, and religious significance, nearly destroyed by fire today.
The cathedral survived 2 world wars and has stood for more than 850 years, but it's now heavily damaged, its future uncertain.
The cause is still unknown, but investigators do not suspect arson. CBS's Roxana Saberi reports from Paris.
A fast-moving fire reduced much of Paris's Notre Dame Cathedral to ashes on Monday. But tonight, the landmark is still standing. The flames were first spotted near the top of the building. They quickly spread across the roof and upper structures and eventually engulfed its iconic spire. After it collapsed, firefighters feared the 800-year-old cathedral would be completely destroyed. Officials later said its walls and 2 main towers had been salvaged. The interior is believed to have been gutted, but not before some of the precious artwork inside was removed. The fire happened close to closing time when most of Notre Dame's daily 30,000 visitors had already left, so it could have been much worse. Crowds of Parisians and tourists gathered to watch the disaster as it unfolded. Some prayed while others sang hymns.
Notre Dame is not just a building, it's the beating heart of Paris.
Among those at the scene of the fire was French President Emmanuel Macron. He declared it a national emergency and vowed that Notre Dame would one day be rebuilt. Roxana Saberi, CBS News, Paris.
Investigators suspect that fire may be connected to renovation work that was being done in the upper levels of the cathedral.
And tonight, Missoula High School students especially heartbroken after visiting Paris and Notre Dame just weeks ago. 20
Loyola High School students were there on a spring break trip. They say the experience was beautiful and inspiring as they reflect back on the trip through photos on their phones.
The students say they realize how lucky they were to see the cathedral before its destruction today.
In a word, tragic. It's heartbreaking to see that. I mean, you can watch the video of the spire coming down and it hurts you right here because it is such a big Catholic symbol. I'd like to think that, you know, I was there at the time that I was there for a reason, that I got to see it, the original Notre Dame church, before it did get destroyed.
I was really confused. I was like, something like this couldn't happen because it is Holy Week and it's a very important piece of art. It's not just a cathedral, it's art and it's architecture, and it's just a historical building that lots of people care about.
Now, the students believe people, regardless of their faith, will come together and rebuild the cathedral.
Other news tonight, this time around, School District 2 is calling in the experts to express why the community should pass a high school mill levy.
Tonight, board members heard straight from the students. Q2's Mitch Laggy is standing by now in the newsroom with more on tonight's school board meeting and what will be included in the upcoming vote. Mitch.
Russ and Jeanelle, tonight, School District 2 Superintendent Greg Upham broke down the details of the operational high school levy, and students weighed in on the current state of textbooks and class supplies in the Billings high schools.
It's no secret that high school textbooks are severely outdated. My history textbook sophomore year, first of all, we didn't have enough to take home, which put a damper on the stuff that we could do. We couldn't do outside homework because we can't take a book home either.
What you just saw there is promotional video by the school district to educate the community and taxpayers. With this levy, the owner of a $200,000 home will pay an extra $10.04 per year in property tax. School District 2 Superintendent Greg Upham says the levy is much needed across the Billings high schools. He says the district has not been able to offer some advanced classes due to the lack of facilities and instructional material. Upham is committed to transparency in the process of communicating the need for the levy.
We can't, as an entire community, hope to pass levies or be afraid to introduce them for fear they'll fail. It's on us as an entity to communicate with our community so that they understand the importance of what we're doing, the relevance, the accountability, and the transportation when they give us those funds. We need to do a better job. What our community needs to understand is our children and our students have to compete, and in order to compete, we need to create the best environment we can for them so that they have an edge in this. And by passing this, it gets us on the right track.
Now tomorrow, students from all 3 Billings public high schools will gather on the Yellowstone County Courthouse lawn at 4 p.m. in support of the levy. Russ and Jeanelle.
All right, thanks so much, Mitch.
Well, Rob is in for Bob tonight, and after what turned out to be a very nice Monday, looks like more rain could be on the way tomorrow, huh?
You know, I have to remind myself it's spring.
It is.
So spring weather is going to arrive, and it's here. And so we've got some more showers to talk about. But let me show you what's happening with the wind right now. That was another main feature across the state. We had winds gusting up to 49, 50 miles an hour from Cut Bank down through Great Falls, even over toward Livingston and Nye. Right now it's nice and calm. It's going to stay that way for a little while. However, this spring weather, as we mentioned, will continue. We've got showers likely Tuesday and Wednesday, maybe an isolated thunderstorm or two. And our warmest day of the year so far, possibly 77 degrees for Good Friday. Here's what it looks like tomorrow. If you're planning ahead, 50% chance of showers, maybe a thunderstorm, and 56 degrees. We'll have the complete storm tracker forecast in just a little bit. Jeanelle?
All right, thanks so much, Rob. Well, after 4 days of stalemate, the state Senate finally advances one of the biggest bills of the session, the continuation of Medicaid expansion. MTN's Mike Dennison was on the Senate floor during today's debate and tells us what happened and what's next.
The day on the Senate floor opened with a dramatic 26-24 vote, breaking a 4-day deadlock and placing the Medicaid expansion bill on the debate calendar later in the day. That vote was crucial, enabling the bill to meet a transmittal deadline that otherwise might have killed it. More than 4 hours later, the same 26-vote majority held for debate stage approval, advancing House Bill 658 to a final Senate vote on Tuesday. Opponents, however, didn't go down without a fight, arguing the legislature is going against the will of Montana voters, who last November defeated a ballot measure that proposed extending the program and funding it with higher tobacco taxes.
I think they voted because it was a tax, because it's socialized medicine, because it incentivizes people to not work and to be in the poverty level so that they can get a benefit for remaining under the poverty line. The voters of Montana said no, and here we are, some of us thinking we know better.
Democratic Senate Leader John Sesso argued that voters said no to higher taxes, but not to Medicaid expansion.
We have done what the people asked us to do, and is not raise their taxes to pay for this program. This is the product that we put together, and I would ask for a due pass today because people are counting on us.
90% of the $700 million a year program is funded by the federal government. A new tax paid by Montana hospitals also will pick up most of the state's share of the costs. Senator Dan Solomon of Ronan, one of 6 Republicans to support the measure on Monday, said Montana accepts federal money to help pay for many programs, and that HB 658 was an easy vote for him because of its economic benefits and aid to rural hospitals.
What's the first thing people look for when they look for a place to live? They look for housing, etc. Then they look, where is it in relationship to schools and hospitals? So we lose our smaller hospitals. That's going to make a big difference in how we look at things and how people look when they're looking for a place to live and a job.
If the Senate approves Medicaid expansion on Tuesday, it goes back to the House for a final vote, and then it could go to Governor Bullock for his signature. Whether that path depends on the fate of other bills remains to be seen. At the Capitol, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
All right, thanks, Mike. The Montana House has endorsed a major reform to Montana's medical marijuana system. House members voted 68-32 in favor of Senate Bill 265 today. The biggest change in that bill is untethering patients from providers, meaning patients would no longer have to choose a single provider to purchase their marijuana. The bill originally raised a tax on medical marijuana providers from 2% to 4%, but the bill has now been amended to make that increase temporary. Supporters say the bill will give regulators the tools to better manage marijuana across the state. The bill must pass a final vote in the House tomorrow to move forward.
A controversial bill that supporters say could extend the life of Colstrip 4 power plant passed a preliminary vote in the State House today. That vote 62-38. The bill originally guaranteed Northwestern Energy could charge customers up to $75 million over 10 years for new expenditures at the plant. Now, supporters say the bill has been amended to address some of the main concerns, but bill opponents say they expect the changes will be reversed as the bill moves forward.
In committee, we ensured that there was Public Service Commission oversight of costs and purchases, and that was the #1 concern I've heard about for a month or two, so we took care of that.
This is going to be stripped out of this bill, as well as every other good thing that got amended into this bill, is going to get stripped out. And so I like to call this the 72 Vega bill, because this is a dangerous vehicle.
Senate Bill 331 must pass a final vote in the House tomorrow. The Senate will then decide whether to accept the House's amendments.
Coming up on tonight's 10 o'clock news, some Montana runners lacing up their shoes for the Boston Marathon. We're going to check in with them.
Plus, the Great Falls Police Department needs your help. Find out how you can make music to its ears.
And a little later in sports, Scott updates the condition of this Big Fork athlete who was hit with a javelin.
You're watching MTN News with Jeanelle Slade and Russ Riesinger. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Breen. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.